Swiggity Soo, how'd you do, guys? This is Kid Punch and I'm back again, guys, with another episode of Pokemon Showdown Sessions. Before I go any further, guys, if you'd like to leave a like, comment, or even subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic, guys. But like I always say, do it at your free will and only if you actually enjoyed the episode today. So we are actually using the same team as the episode, well, yesterday or very early this morning if it was in England. Basically, I'm using a hybrid team of Scar. Scar was a Japanese player who did really well in the World Championships. That's about as much information I know about him. I saw one user, James Beck, use his team, and I actually really wanted to try the combo of Gardevoir, Moongus, and Heatran, and this is what I've come up with. So usually in a team like this, there would be a Landorus instead of the Conkeldurr or a Tyranitar, but I decided to go with both of those just because they're really cool anti-meta calls, and I really like using them. So let's get straight into it, and hopefully we can pick up 3 wins today. Oh my goodness. Wow, we come up against a really cool team here. Is that Chlorophyll Tropius? Please say me that's Chlorophyll Tropius. But anyway, we come up against a team consisting of Blastoise, Ninetales, Tropius, Gallade, Uniclus, and Malamar. So, I'm sort of scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually really scared. My opponent's got a pretty cool team here. I really like it, actually. Saying that, though, he doesn't really have a very good answer to Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr actually does a really good job against him. So, what do I want to open up with? I think to start off with, I actually might open up with a Moongus and Conkeldurr, just so I protect Conkeldurr as much as possible. However, he could open up Gallade. I'll tell you what, I'll open up Gardevoir and Moongus. I've never actually done that yet with this team, which is a bit weird, but, you know, I just never found an appropriate time to do it until now, actually. And for my last Pokemon, should I go with Heatran, or Tyranitar? Tyranitar gets Crunch, I guess, and Rock Slide. But Heatran just gets Earth Power as well. You know what, I'm going to go with Tyranitar just because it gets the special defense boost as well from Sand. So he opens with a Malamar and Uniclus, which is fine by me. We do trace the Contrary from Malamar, which doesn't really mean much. I think Uniclus will have Regenerator. That's fine. So basically what I'm going to do is turns out I'm just going to Hyper Voice, and I guess I can just go for a Protect with a Moongus, maybe? No, I want to protect Gardevoir here, so I'm going to go for a Rage Powder. The scariest things are going up against teams like this, which are quite unorthodox, is the fact you do not know what they're going to do. Obviously, Malamar gets Super Power, which is fine. Okay, so he switches Blastoise here. I use Rage Powder, which is fine. We get a Hyper Voice off, which is fantastic. As he goes for a Psychic onto a Moongus, doing a lot of damage, actually. This time I'm just going to go for a Hyper Voice. And I'm actually just going to protect with a Moongus. I really want to try and take out this Blastoise and then be able to switch into my Tyranitar here, just so I can then start Rock Sliding. We do get a Protect off with a Moongus, which is fantastic. We get a Hyper Voice off, takes out Blastoise and Uniclus. Wow, my opponent really doesn't have a good call to go for a Moongus. I'm not saying... Okay, yeah, so my opponent just forfeits here, which is fine by me. We do win that battle, which is fantastic. So let's go straight into our next game. Hopefully we can pick up another victory. My plan for most of these episodes is to pick up 2 victories or 1 loss at my very minimum. I always feel that with Pokemon you should, if you want to, like, a good target to get if you want to play in like regionals and to be able to top cut comfortably, is to be able to go like 3 wins and 1 loss, because that sort of gets you in the rhythm. Obviously you come against very different skilled players at regionals and like premier challenges, but obviously it all depends where you are on the Battlespot ladder. So you come against another really wicked team here, consisting of Marwell, Gramble, Hitmontop, Manectric, Quillfish, and Staraptor. So actually my opponent here has 4 Intimidate, no 5, wait, does Quillfish get Intimidate? Because if so, my opponent has 6 Intimidators, well, 6 possible Intimidators. Manectric, when it Mega Evolves, gets Intimidate, Staraptor gets Intimidate, Hitmon, Gramble, and Marwell all get Intimidate too. So this is cool. So I think my Heatran does a really good job here, as long as I can get Trick Room up and get rid of Hitmontop and Staraptor with close combat. So a league I definitely want to open up with again is Gardevoir and Amoonguss. They actually provide really good support. Who else do I want to bring? I want to bring Tyranitar to this matchup just because Tyranitar does a really good job against my opponent. And obviously I want to bring Heatran as well. So I put Gardevoir and Amoonguss, which is fantastic against Gramble and Staraptor. So does my opponent has double Intimidate here? Well, we get the Intimidate off, which is fantastic. So yeah, this was just a dual Intimidate here. Fine by me. So this turn what I basically want to go for is a Trick Room. And do I... Oh, I'm really scared of Final Gambit from this Staraptor here. I'm still going to go for the Rage Powder. He could go for Brave Bird though, so I could this turn Mega Evolve, Trick Room, and I'm still going to go for Rage Powder. The reason is, if this was against a player that I knew, I would have probably gone for the Protect onto Amoonguss because he'd probably predict me to Rage Powder and maybe go for a Brave Bird, but I don't know the skill level of my opponents, which is a little bit scary. I don't want him to pull out some like Gunk Shot or something. He goes for a Brave Bird, doesn't actually take us out, which is fantastic. He gets hit by Rocky Helmet and Recall and Life Orb, goes for a Play Rough onto Amoonguss, still doesn't take us out. We get even more Rocky Helmet damage off, and then we actually end up getting Trick Room up, which is fantastic. So we're in a really good position here, as all I need to do here is Spore the Gramble and go for a Hyper Voice. Amoonguss is currently the fastest Pokemon on the field. He protects with his Staraptor, which is fine by me. Get the Spore onto Gramble. Gramble is obviously slower than Gardevoir. We get a critical hit Hyper Voice. Doesn't really matter though, because that would have been a 2-hit KO nevertheless. So what I want to do this turn is that I actually really want to switch out into Heatran just so we get the regenerator boost with Amoonguss and go for another Hyper Voice with our Gardevoir, just because there's nothing really stopping us. A really nice play would be my opponent to switch into Marwell, which would actually work out really well for us because that means we can then switch in our okay, so he does that. That means we can get the Flamethrower from our Heatran onto it. So we get the Hyper Voice off. It does a lot of damage to that Marwell, which is fantastic. He switches in his Hitmontop here, which is a little bit scary actually. So what I'm going to do this turn is that I'm going to switch into Amoonguss, full Gardevoir, and since we are Focus Sashed Heatran, I'm actually just going to go for a Flamethrower straight into the Marwell. Yep, that sounds like a good play. So he does Mega, which is fantastic. Goes for a Sucker Punch actually. Goes for 2 Sucker Punches, okay. I'm not sure if I agree with that play, but my opponent forfeits right there, right then. We're not coming against the most skilled players because we're quite low down on rating, only 1000s, well 1085 now. I think it's because the Showdown reset again, because I was sure I was on 1400s like a week ago, now it's changed back down. So that's not a problem though, because you know what, it's just giving us some insights to some pretty creative teams that I actually really like coming up against. I really do enjoy like lower ratings. It's an easier time, it's more fun, less stressful if you want to count that, and it just, you know, it's you can't get some really cool archetypes, which is fantastic. So yeah, so let's get straight into our next battle, and hopefully we can actually pick up 3 wins today. If any of the teams were like the ones we just faced, then possibly we might have a 4th battle today, but it all depends because I do have work in half an hour, well an hour, but I need to be ready for half an hour just before then, so hopefully we can. So what I'm going to do here guys is that I'm actually just going to pause the video and come back to you in a second. Right guys, so we come up against this team here